got a couple of so-called title fights in the main event and co-main event, but the real main event will feature this man, the real middleweight champion of the UFC, Mr. Chael Sonnen, back after a 14-month layoff, making his first title defense against Brian Stann. Chael, how are you?
Well, I'm a lot better after that lead-in. I'm glad that somebody finally gets it.
Well, I mean, there's some bald guy wearing tight shorts running around claiming to be the middleweight champion because he wrapped his legs around your head for 20 seconds. I'm talking to the real guy right here, ready for a big-time fight. Two great Americans in the cage, Chael Sonnen and Brian Stann.
Well said, my man, and out of respect for America, he's going to get a red, white, and blue ass whipping in 2 days.
Love to hear that. So you're not worried about coming back after 14 months. I mean, I can imagine, even though I'm sure you've been training hard because, you know, most of your absence was not caused by injury, by other circumstances, but 14 months, you worried about any cage rust?
Oh, yeah, no, and I'm not in denial about it. I believe ring rust is a real thing. I've seen guys go through it. I don't see why it would be an exception to the rule. You know, one thing I can hang my hat on is when I left, I was the best by a lot. I was the best by 300 punches. That gap is closing, fine. I'm the best by 290 punches.
So I'm guessing the training's been going pretty well, considering you might be a little rusty.
Yeah, I mean, I work hard every day. You know, I just work hard every day. But you can't train unless you have a fight. And a lot of guys get that really wrong. They think anytime they go in the gym, they were training. Hey, what'd you do? That I was training. Well, you're not. Yeah, okay, look, you go work out, you can practice, and then you can train. But it's a totally different level of intensity. Totally different mindset when you're in a training cycle. And you can't manufacture it. You can't pretend to be in that environment. You either got the contract and the date or you don't. So as far as training went, yeah, I've been out for a while, but as far as practicing and being in the gym every day, no, I was there twice a day, every day.
Now, your opponent, Brian Stann, he's been very active during your absence. He's been winning fights. He's been kicking ass, even though he's about to get an ass kicking. Now, of course, he's a respectful guy. He's certainly not going to trash talk you, but he seemed to indicate in, you know, the press conference, maybe a conference call or two, that he feels that in the striking department, you're not going to be any match for him.
Yeah, I picked up on a little bit of that myself. I did notice that he said that. You know, listen, he could be right, he could be wrong. There's only one way to find out. I will tell you this. I've fought 46 men, and not one of them outstruck me. If he's the first, then God bless him. If he can do it, then he deserves to have it. But it will be a first that happens on Saturday.
Talking to Chael Sonnen, he will be taking on Brian Stann this Saturday night, UFC 136, live on pay-per-view from Houston, Texas. Now, Chael, the last time we spoke to you was right before the UFC Rio card, UFC 134. Unfortunately, your boy Yushin Okami didn't quite get it done there. What were your thoughts coming out of that card?
Well, I was surprised. You know, I thought the card as a whole was all right. And when I said all right, I thought it was really good. I was just a fan that night, sitting there watching. I thought, wow, what a great event. As far as the title fight goes, you know, that wasn't the Yushin that I knew. I don't feel that he brought his skills and his tools with him. I know he's got a lot more to offer. And it didn't happen that night. You know, I think Anderson gets an A for accuracy, but he also gets an A for inactivity. He threw 2 punches in 7 minutes. They both just happened to land. So, I mean, that was on its way to being a snooze fest, like all of Anderson's fights. But you know, he got the job done, and good for him. And I felt bad for Yushin, and that's the end of it.
It seems like I've heard kind of conflicting reports, Chael, on what is going to happen after the outcome of your fight with Stann. I think that the latest we heard was that Dana White has clarified that the winner of Chael Sonnen versus Brian Stann will be Anderson Silva's next opponent. Is that something you can confirm, or do you even care? Are you even thinking that far ahead?
Well, my next opponent, should I win, my venue and the date is already set. But that's not a story for me to break. And I don't have that fight anyway. I got to get past the scale tomorrow and get past Brian on Saturday.
So you can't tell us that then.
That's correct. But I do know what's next. I know where it's at, and I know when it is.
I'll tell you something I would find fun. Now, of course, I have no idea what this opponent or venue will be, but I think it'd be cool to watch Chael Sonnen fight in Japan in February, because Chael, I mean, they spent about a decade in Japan with those possibly fixed below-board fights. It'd be nice for a guy like you to go in there and show him what a real fight looks like.
Again, it's just nice to be on the air with a fellow Eagle that gets it. I really do appreciate this interview. I like that too. There's a lot of history. There's a lot of heritage. There's a lot of respect that comes out of Japan. My favorite place to fight is Las Vegas, Nevada. So, if I had it my way, it'd be in Las Vegas. I don't have it my way. Uh, if Japan's a place, then we'll go over there. But I prefer to not travel, especially overseas like that. I've got to beat Japan a number of times. It's a beautiful, wonderful place to go. So if you got to travel, yeah, Japan may be the place to do it. But I think the place for a title fight should that be next. I think Vegas is appropriate in my opinion.
And let's say the title fight doesn't happen. I think a lot of fans would like to see you fight Vitor Belfort, but I'm not sure he could show up healthy. I mean, it seems like this guy can only keep his body together long enough to fight maybe once a year.
Yeah, I don't buy that for a second. I think he's just a wimp. I don't understand that. Oh, my body doesn't feel. What are you talking about? How could your body not feel good? All you do is work out a little bit 3 times a year. I've never understood these guys that got to pull out matches. But look, I don't take Vitor serious. I think he's very good. I think he's got great accuracy. He's got great skill. I also think he's a wimp. I don't think he would show up. And if he wants to get his name in the paper by name dropping me, he needs to keep it within the realms of reality. I mean, we can only suspend reality so far. Listen, he pulls out of a fight with Kung Lee, and then he says he wants to fight me? Nobody believes that.
Couple more things for you, Chael. I know that it's perceived through the media that, the entire nation of Brazil has a bullseye on your head, but I will tell you something, and this is true. I was interviewing a true Brazilian legend, Renzo Gracie, part of the historic Gracie family. I interviewed him a couple of nights ago. I asked him about you, and this is totally true. He told me that you're one of the best people he knows. Those were his words. So for those who think that Brazil hates Chael Sonnen, Renzo Gracie loves Chael Sonnen.
Well, that's mutual, and the Gracies are off limits. I talk about going too far with reality. The Gracies are flat out off limits. Look, Kenzo's a great guy. He's probably the most well-liked guy in this entire industry. And I met him the first time about almost a decade ago. And his reputation and his popularity amongst the fighters went all the way back then. I mean, he's literally, I would think, the most popular guy amongst fellow athletes. And, his relative, Cesar Gracie, is one of my coaches. So that's very nice that Renzo said that. That's very flattering, especially coming from him.
And I heard you mention this on an interview earlier on in the week. I'm almost sorry that I had to listen to some of these things because I feel like a lot of these hosts just don't get you. But is it true that you have a timeshare in Brazil?
Yeah, I only get to go twice a year. I get to go every 6 months. But, yeah, it's in Rio.
Excellent. Chael Sonnen?
Is this your lead-in? Do you need to follow it? Is that what this is about?
Well, I figured...
I get to go again in March.
I figured...
Are you hinting that you'd like to tease this?
Well, if you've got twice a year...
Are you going to text me privately after the show? Is that where we're going with this?
I know you're a busy guy, and if you've got twice a year, I figure it's got to be tough to make that second trip. I could keep it warm for you while you're busy training.
It's disgusting in Brazil. It's nothing you like. Tropical weather, beautiful women. You wouldn't be good for you. I'll send you a postcard. I'll go for the both of us. How's that?
Chael Sonnen,
maybe we'll go together. Maybe that would be even better. I'll show you the site.
We could be wingmen when we go out in the town.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. It's great, man. It's heaven on earth out there.
So Chael Sonnen taking on Brian Stann this Saturday night, UFC 136, live on pay-per-view. You got a couple so-called title fights at the top, but Chael, I really feel that your middleweight title fight with Brian Stann should be the main event.
I appreciate that, and that really is flattering. It's a great card. I tell you, Frankie Edgar and Gray Maynard, this is their third fight. Their second one, I couldn't have been any less interested. And boy, am I glad I tuned in. What an amazing fight that turned out to be. And I really want to see part 3 here. I think Jose Aldo's pretty good. I think he's highly overrated, but he is good. And I think Florian is a great fighter. I think Florian's going to beat him. But I'll tell you this. You could make a lot of money if you asked me who was going to win fights, and that's the opposite. You'd be shocked at how little I know about the sport. But And I'll tell you what, if Jose does beat Kenny, I'm on board, man. I'll quit the Jose bashing. If he can get through Kenny Florian, then I'll believe you more than I.
It's funny you say that about your fight picks because I do fight picks every week on my show. I'm usually very right, but a couple times a year I'll go, let's say, 0 for 5 on a UFC main card, and that is the only thing my listeners remember. So when I go 5 for 5 on the main card or 11 for 12 on the card as a whole, they never remember that, but they give me a lot of crap, Chael, when I go 0 for 5.
Oh man, I believe it because you and I, it's like honor amongst thieves. We're supposed to know, we're supposed to be in the business. But it's one of those sports, man. You can't pick them, and I'm so close to the trees, I can't see the forest. I get so into it that my vision's almost not clear enough. I really am a bad pick. It drives my mother crazy.
Well, hopefully you did a good job picking your own fight. A victory over Brian Stann this coming Saturday. Chael Sonnen, thank you so much. Best of luck with the weight cut. Big weigh-in coming up tomorrow. And we'll talk to you again, I'm sure, sometime after the fight, leading into your unification title fight with the fraudulent champion, Anderson Silva.
I look forward to it. Thank you.